It's live streamed on our YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook pages, and then we store those on YouTube. So if you want to go back and look at it, we've had over 1 million downloads, folks watching our YouTube channels. This is one of many videos or educational things that we do. All right, are we live? Oh, okay. So here we go. Today's class is on wildflowers. Welcome. Glad you're here. Good looking class. It's a popular class. It is time for wildflowers. So don't wait. It's important to put it in while it's still cold, and I'll tell you why. So for you folks online, hi there. I'm glad you're tuned in. So my name's Ken. Hi. I own the place. I run it with my daughter, Kenzie. She runs the place. So it's a family business. So truly my wife's coming to work today. It's a family business. Been doing this for 64 years. No, I did not start the garden center. My father-in-law did. Harold Waters had 4 very attractive daughters. And I took a fancy to the youngest, prettiest one. So we've been married a few years. And so that's how Ken and Lisa Waters Lane, come to own Waters Garden Center. So that's kind of still in the business. So 3rd generation, 2nd generation. We just lost Harold Waters a couple of years ago. So the founder's kind of gone, but his legacy is still here, going strong. You still feel his presence every day you come into the nursery. So we're very much community oriented. And he started classes over 60 years ago. And we just keep it going every spring. We just go. It's hard to garden here. And the difficulty is the wind is windier, the sun is brighter, the water is poison half the time. It's very alkaline. And so those things can work against you if you don't know the season. And the seasons fool you. So our growing season is basically April, May, June. That's spring. But we get frost into end of April, first part of May. And so you want to know those kind of dates. What's my last frost date? The locals use Mother's Day as the last frost date. That's a general rule. This year is probably going to be not Mother's Day, it's probably going to be the end of April. It'll be a couple weeks earlier. So you could probably plant your tomatoes and your summer blooming flowers earlier. Just have a frost cover just in case that one last storm comes. You can cover and go, okay. So you kind of want to be aware. You'll get tricked in March going, oh, spring's here. No, it's not. We can get a heavy snowstorm or something still then, which is perfect for wildflowers. Wildflowers have very tiny seeds, and many of them have extremely hard exo or shells to them. So they need that freeze thaw to scarify or to crack open the outer shell so that they can germinate. Especially things like California poppies. They won't germinate if you put them out, plant them in May, very dismal results. You plant them now, every single seed's gonna come up. So your timing is gonna be put it in while it is still freezing and thawing. The beauty right now, if you look at your soil right now, it's starting to heave. That is, it freezes at night, opens up, thaws during the day, and you get this expansion of the soil, freeze thaw, freeze thaw. So the soil looks real fluffy right now. It's detrimental for your perennials. They don't like that. It destroys the upper layer of roots up there, just breaks them apart. For a seed, it swallows up the seed. So it just kind of like pulls it right in so you get a better germination rate. So your nemesis. So a couple things. Birds are not your friend with seed. They're going to have a ferocious appetite right now. Whatever you do, for the love of gardening, don't put the world's most expensive bird seed out there. You want to protect it. The way to protect it is to hide the seed with some mulch. I'll show you how to do that. So we've got some mulch. We're going to put the seed down, put some mulch over it to keep the birds off, to increase the germination rate so you get more soil to seed contact. So you get, these are expensive seed. A good seed mix is going to be all perennials, and a cheap seed mix is going to be mostly annuals and vermiculite. So if you get that pretty canister off the shelf, there's plenty of seats over here. We're all gardeners. We like each other. There's a few extra seats over here. Get that pretty canister. Most of what's in that canister is vermiculite, filler, absolute filler, not one seed. And then they'll put some annual seeds in there. Annuals, remember, they bloom and look great for a year, and then they don't come back. Perennials and permanent both start with P. That's what you want. You want to put a perennial flower in there, it blooms, creates more seed, and just expands, it keeps growing. That's the best. And then what you really want are local native wildflower seeds. You don't want some Phoenix thing, because they're not going to bloom very well. You don't want just Minnesota stuff, because we have a lot more that we can grow out here. So we've got 4 different seed mixes we make ourselves. There's a poppy mix, and it's California poppy, but then that's orange is pretty, but you can be prettier by adding some reds and some whites and some oranges and you get these blanket of different poppies. Poppies are a very large family of plants. So we put together a mixture of poppies. A lot of you are in the forest who are in this wildland interface. And so deer, we know, are a problem. So we have a deer resistive list. Key is resistive. If they're bedding in the middle of your flowers, they might not be eating them, but they'll make them look terrible. But you're much more likely to have flowers when you're putting lupins and some of these other deer resistive. There's some things they just don't care for. We've got a butterfly and hummingbird mix, because we know pollinators are a thing. We actually believe at Waters Garden Center, we can save the bees. We can save the butterflies. Monarchs are in trouble. We're paving over their habitat and their migration's being affected. Well, a wildflower patch in the backyard, huge difference. So you personally can make a difference in that. So we got a butterfly. So, and then we've got an Arizona mix. Some of you just want it to grow by itself. Let it go. And so we've got that mix. And then we've got some grass mixes. So there's a native revegetation mix. So if it's basic for scars of construction, so you put a new septic field in and you just rip your yard a new one, you want to get it back to the way it did look. We've got some tall wheat grasses, some buffalo grass, some grommas, whole mixture of stuff. What we found was a lot of folks didn't want the tall grasses. They wanted a meadow look. And so we took all the short grasses and then we added some wildflowers to it. We call it meadow mix. So you can have those. Those are basically the 6 different wildflowers that we have down there right now, as you look. And we make them all. These are our proprietary. You can only find them at Waters Garden Center. Really, you can only find them at Waters Garden Center. And now is the time to do it. Okay, I would say now through Valentine's, end of February is the peak window. And then for grasses, your peak window is probably Valentine through March. So grasses do a little better when it's a little warmer. While flowers, seeds, a little better when it's a little cooler. But this is your window to put those things in right now. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you some insider tips. I've planted a lot of wildflower gardens. These are kind of my tips, what I got for you. And then I'm going to hand that out to you. So I've got 3 handouts for you. I know I'm dealing with native, low care, flowery folks. I mean, you know how weird this is? It's January. You're at a garden class. That's hardcore gardeners right here. You are hardcore. Now, when you get closer to the vegetable garden in April, that's like everyone's here. Gardeners, non-gardeners. I'm going to try a tomato. We like that one because we think that the introductory drug to gardening are houseplants and tomato plants. If you get them started on those 2, they just expand and just grows. So we're teaching a Girl Scout troop here a little bit about gardening. So they're cute as can be, trying to help the next generation get that bug of unplug and go play in the dirt. It's good for you. So I've got how to plant wildflowers. If you buy wildflowers today, you'll get one of these. If you don't buy wildflowers today, it will be emailed to you here by Monday. So I've got three things coming to you. So if you're a note taker and you miss something, you'll have it here shortly. So just kind of don't worry. We got you covered. I've got fragrant gardens because we got flower people here. There are some that are more fragrant. Some of them aren't wild. Some of you want them on the back patio right there in a container. So when you're sipping tea in the evening, watching the sunset, you got the fragrance. So we get the most fragrant flowers. Then I have, just for fun, I put together a list of edible flowers. You want to wow your tea party friends? Use these. And pansies and violas are part of that. So I've got those 3 things for you. If you want those, put your email down and I will send that to you here shortly. Okay, all 3 of those. So there you go. Now, if you're already part of our garden club, there's like over 12,000 of you. We're not sending this to everyone. It's only to you all that we're sending this, okay? So if you're already part of the list, or you get my weekly garden column, or you listen to the podcast, whatever, put the email down so I know to send that to you directly, okay? So that's just that question. And if you could, for the love of gardening, please, I can't interpret some of your handwriting. Take a moment and be clearer. Some of you doctors, especially, you accountants, you're pretty good. Nurses, you got this down, but some of you are real sloppy. You need to be a little more gentle. Is it a 6 or is it a B? I don't know. I'll try both. And when we bounce back? So those are coming to you. How many, this is your very first class? Really? I'm giving you the wildflower one, or I'm giving you the fragrant garden one. How many? There we go. I'll give you edible flowers. You're all going to get one of these. Don't worry. There you go. And just pass this one back to the gal. Okay. Yeah. There you go. Okay. You're all going to get those. Don't worry. Okay. So what do? Here's the biggest mistake people make with wildflowers. They are wild. They will come up on their own. You see hillsides full of poppies. But if you just take a handful of wildflowers and chuck them on the ground, yes, 3 of them will germinate. The way nature works is multitude. They just go, I'm going to put 1 million seed out and 100 of them come up. We're not dealing with nature. We're altering nature. So you need to prep a little bit to make sure those all, let's say you get 300, 400, 500 seed in a scoop. You want to make sure all of those come up because they're expensive. If you do it right, all of that will germinate. You'll just be this glorious, beautiful carpet of wildflowers, literally this year. And next year is even better. Year 2 for perennials is the most beautiful year. Year 1, you get some flowers. Year 2, you get mature flowers. That's also why at the garden center, you'll notice that annual flowers, let's say pansies and snapdragons and kale, they're usually less expensive than perennial flowers. That's because if we want a perennial to bloom, we have to hold on to that perennial for 2 years before it blooms. So we've had it much, much longer. Whereas a pansy is 6 weeks. So the time that you're farming, the farmers would rather sell you an annual because we get a better turn. It's about bench space. So we make more money with annuals. But as a gardener, as your friend, you want perennials because you plant them once and they come back for years and years and years. So peonies expensive. Some of those are 5 years old before they get into your gardens. So you can see the cost is going to go up some. So that's why perennials generally look better at 2 years and annuals 1 year, okay? And they die in the winter. Okay, why did I share that? Birds are your next thing. You gotta keep the birds off. They are gonna take interest. If you're putting fresh soil, so the first thing you need to do is rake open the soil. So take all those boulders, open up the earth, get rid of the weeds, kind of just get an area where it's raked up. You want to scare it. You don't have to amend it with dirt or mulch or potting soil. Just need to open the earth up. These are native plants that will germinate in your native soil. But if you just have a bunch of boulders and rocks or riprap going down the hill, they aren't going to like that. Make little pockets of flowers, flower beds, and you'll get better germination rate. The easiest way is a stiff tine rake, just not a leaf rake. It's not stiff enough. Just rake it open and try to get that line in the sand, in the dirt, in the soil, in the clay, in the caliche, out in those valley areas. Try to open up the earth. Then you're going to throw your seed on top of that. And then you're going to put some mulch on top of the seed, this stuff. And then you're done. You planted a wildflower. It's super easy. Do you water? Do you not water? You do water. My best wildflowers I've had, I took a soaker hose and I just snaked it through there kind of in the area. And then I put my seed around that. I kind of turned it on and see, oh, there's a wet spot. There you go. And I'll water it maybe once every week and a half or so. I want the soil to stay moist and not dry out because seedlings are sensitive to overwater and to underwater. They kind of want to die. So if we're gardeners, we can help them kind of get them through the dry spots, okay? The best thing you can have happen for wildflowers, put them down, snowstorm, put a few inches of snow on them. Literally, they'll be germinated by the time the snow melts, just like that. That's the best of the best of the best. That's what nature intends wildflowers to do. Now, a little insider tip. I do like to fertilize my flowers because they're heavy. To get the big flowers on them, let's say a big echinacea or gaillardia, you're going to need some food. Your soil is terrible. You have no food, there's nothing good about your dirt, native dirt out there. If you can enrich it a little bit, and so what I do is I'll put some all-purpose plant food after I get my seed, my mulch down. This is a granular organic food. I can't call it, it's all natural. So we do put some minerals in there like sulfur and iron, because we know you're going to need that to counteract your water and some of your soil issues. So we're making this food. Wildflowers respond to this really, really well. You will get bigger, brighter, more flowers if you fertilize this 3 or 4 times a year, every couple of months. Sprinkle some of that on your wildflowers and ooh, you will have a show. Your neighbors will be stopping by going, how did you do that? Well, you know, I took this class in January by this guy, forget his name. He owns Waters Garden Center. He told me to use this stuff and it really does work. So wildflowers, I put it on right after I put my mulch. It's right on top. Pray for snow. You will have flowers by the time the snow melts. Not flowers. You'll see the sprouts coming up. The other thing that fools people is wildflowers look like weeds when they first come up. So I've had some gardeners, some of you have gardeners that help you. And so they'll come in and, oh, they're weeding. And they'll come in and dig up the wildflower patch because they thought it was weeds. They didn't know you seeded stuff. And so kind of tell them, don't kill this area. These aren't weeds, these are wildflowers. The other one is they'll come up in waves. So this a good blend will have 10, 20 different kinds of seed in this mix. It's a wildflower mix or blend. They don't all germinate at once. They germinate in waves. You see this in nature. You see waves of poppies and waves of canadian and waves of gaillardia. They'll come in waves. So expect that from your wildflowers. They're not going to all, well, I planted this and I only see three different types. Well, they're coming. Some of them wait for soil temperature. Some are daylight sensitive. They need so many hours of daylight before they start to germinate. There's certain triggers that happen for plants. And so they're going to come out. But we've put the blend together that works together well here in the mountains of Arizona, okay? If you're from Phoenix, don't take these down there and try to grow them. They're not gonna do well. They're for up here at higher elevations. I'd say Cordes Junction on Sedona, great. I'd say 3,000 foot level and above, you're spot on. You need some cold in the winter to make these things happy, okay? If you have wildflowers, so I've cut mine back. I've got a patch. It's probably 2,000 square feet. It's been there for a few years. It was glorious. I mean, it was almost too glorious. I mean, it's like too big. So I had to cut it back midsummer as the monsoons hit. I went, oh, I think I'll just mow these things down, fertilize them. And I had a second showing just like that. It was pretty spectacular. And now I've cut them back again because they're looking like like winter. So there's some green to them. You know, some of the daisies look okay, but they're kind of mangled. I don't know, they look beat up. So I've taken the mower and just mowed them over. And then I fertilized them with the all-purpose plant food. Okay, and now they're starting to see. I can tell spring is right around the corner. So they're wanting to go. Okay. Okay. What I like to do when I start a wildflower patch, I like hydro mulch. Some of the seed are so light, so fluffy, when you spread them by hand, you can't tell where they landed. You literally can't see them. And so I'm going, how do I do this? Did I get some? Is it enough? I can't tell. I tend to overuse. I use too much seed just because visually I can't quite tell if I had enough down there. And so I love taking a wheelbarrow. I love taking mulch. This is just our premium mulch. It's just for you folks in the Midwest, mulch means bark. For us, for the rest of the country, it means compost. This is composted This is from a sawmill over in the White Mountains. We're just harvesting the old tailings. We make this stuff. So screened down really fine, but this will keep the birds off. They can't hide it. They can't see the seed in this. But what I really like is for me, I like to take a bag of mulch, and then I'll take my seed and blend it in my mulch, and I just turn this around, and now I can spread this, and I can see where it's going. So I get a 3-time benefit. 1, I get to get it more evenly spread. 2, it keeps the birds off. 3, it keeps the seed moist better, the seed soil contact, so I get better germination rate. There's if you're buying a scoop or 2 of wildflowers, get a bag of mulch. It's a game changer. I used to do it just by hand. Ooh, spotty, it was clumpy. This just evens it right out. It's really a game changer. So it's pretty easy. So I'm going to make some here. So, and here's permission. I'm going to take the parade of poppies and the Arizona. This probably isn't even fair. I mean, I'm not even going to show it to you. I mean, just a mixture of all kinds of big seed, small seed. You can't even, there's just all kinds of seed in here. That's good. So I'm going to take a scoop of this. That's probably about it. I'll be generous. I'll do more than a scoop. And I love poppies. That's one of my favorite flowers. And we've got a parade of poppies. You can blend these seeds together. Like if you like poppies, you want more of you think you have deer, but you really like the Arizona mix, you can blend them together. They're going to grow the same. Wildflowers need, so I'll put some poppies in there. Wildflowers need at least 6 hours of sun to grow or more. So they aren't going to do well in the shade parts of the garden. They're going to prefer the sunny areas. Wind is not a factor. If you're up on those ridge lines, you got those beautiful views, wildflowers are going to do great for you. If you're under a tree, you'd think that'd be full sun, but what you're getting is morning sun and evening sun. It's almost the perfect spot because you get light here, middle of the day, heat relief, and then sun at the end of the day. It's almost like they bloom longer there. So don't feel like a tree's in the way, but if you're up in those pine forests and it's nothing but pine trees, oof, you're gonna have to look and see where are those spots, during the growing season, winters, the days are short, but during the growing season, where are my sunny spots? So you might need to spot that out if you're in between all the junipers or the piñons, the native scrub stuff. And now I have no idea where the seed went because you can't see them and neither can the birds. And then I'll just take this and I'll just do this all over where I want the wildflowers. Germinate, it's like that's an insider tip I can give you that'll be a game changer. Really makes it easier for you, okay? Some of these seeds are so light and fluffy, they're made to float. So they'll actually take flight and float, and that's how they spread. And they're in the mix. Well, floaters are not good when you're trying to mix them into your garden. You want them to be secured, and mulch really makes a difference, okay? I would say stay away from potting soil. Better to use premium mulch. Potting soil is mainly peat moss. Peat moss is it's a great product for containers, raised beds, fantastic for plants. Not so good for a seed because it tends to dry out and it's real fine and it's hard to get rehydrated. So I really prefer this. It's more consistent moisture for my wildflower seeds, okay? So I'll spread this out there. I'll put the fertilizer on. This will feed it for the next 6 to 9 weeks. Just kind of every time moisture, snow, rain, your irrigation, whatever, sometimes goes out there, just a little bit will release every time it gets moist. But it's organic, so it's cottonseed meal and bird guano and some other magic fairy dust stuff in there. So it just will feed those seedlings so you get bigger, better, stronger, brighter flowers, okay? Year 1, you're going to see flowers. You're going to see a lot of flowers. Year 2, you're going to see a lot more flowers. And here's what I do at the end of the year. They are perennials. They're going to hibernate underground. They're going to come back fresh from the roots every year. So perennials tend to hide underground for winter. What I like to do is sometime in winter, I like to take my mower or my weed whacker, and I like to kind of go through and mow them down. And I like to see the seed just go whoosh all over the place. So the rougher you are, don't be neat and tidy. Kind of be brutal with it, and they'll just spread out, and they'll make a truly a meadow kind of look to it. You'll have a wildflower patch. Now, if you want to define space, maybe be more gentle. But I like to cut them so that all those seed heads kind of float down, and I get more seed the next year. They literally will spread for you. Okay. What else can I share with you? One other. This is kind of a unique product. We're going deeper. This is like gardening 301. Okay, so think of college. This is not entry level. This is humic acid. Humic acid. If you take a compost pile and you compost it down to its last element, what you end up with is humic acid. This stuff. What humic acid does, it feeds the soil. So food feeds the plant. So it's like steak and potatoes. I've got a big old